You know, folks, I got to be dead honest with you. This is one video that I never dreamed I'd ever be making. Because if you'd have told me 10 or 15 years ago, if you'd have said, Brando, one of these days you're going to be sitting in a lawn chair on your back porch talking into your phone, and you're going to be talking about a former president who was defeated in his first term. He loses at the end of his first term. He comes back for a rematch because he wants a second term. And while he's out on the campaign trail, he's going to be talking about how he's so much prettier than the woman he's running against. I would have laughed in your face and said, that's impossible. There's no way that will ever be the real world. That sounds to me like some kind of really bad Will Ferrell movie. No way that could be real life. But folks, it's real life. That is one of Donald Trump's newest talking points out on the campaign trail. Now he is obsessed with Kamala Harris's looks. And he's so vain in himself that he can't even accept the fact that she was put on the cover of Time magazine without whining and complaining about it like a little school child that's just whining and complaining because they didn't get their way or because they didn't get picked. Pick me, pick me. It's so cringe. It's so cringe. But this guy's got an audience that comes to see this cringe. Take a look.
I mean, Time magazine, think of this. Time magazine doesn't have a picture of her. They have this unbelievable artist drawing her. And I said, is that Sophia Loren? I couldn't. Who might that be? Is that Elizabeth Taylor? They say she was a beautiful woman. Who is it? It's so beautiful. Drawing. It's a drawing. They took a lot of pictures. It didn't work out, so they hired a sketch artist. I said, I'm sure, oh, they must be celebrating the great life and times of the magnificently beautiful Sophia Loren. And you're not allowed to say this anymore. You know, David, don't ever get caught in this trap, David, please. Don't ever call a woman beautiful, because that'll be the end of your political career.
You see, folks, there's two kinds of people in this world. There's the kind that sees Donald Trump say something like that and realizes it for the batshit insanity that it is. And then there's people who actually goes out of their way to go and stand there in the audience and watch him say it. And they buy his merch and they're excited to vote for him. It is so ridiculous that this is what he's obsessing about now. The cover of Time magazine and the fact that they drew her on it instead of used a real picture. They did a drawing. So now he's just so torn up about this, and he's torn up over her looks and that he's going to be running against a beautiful woman. He just can't accept the thought of that. So now he's trying to say that he's prettier than Kamala Harris. I wished I was making this up. I wish this was not real life. But no, he's out there saying he's prettier than the next president, Kamala Harris. Take a look.
Called it wrong. She's called it wrong now for about 8 years. But she said one thing that got me. She said Kamala has one big advantage. She's a very beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. So I decided to go back and reread the clause. I'm not saying he's, but I say that I am much better looking than her. I think I'm much better. Much better. I'm a better looking person than Kamala. No, I couldn't believe it. She said, you know, I had never heard that one. They said, no, her biggest advantage is that she's a beautiful woman. I'm going, huh. I never thought of that. I'm better looking than she is. In her speech.
Yeah, a grown man actually said that into a live microphone. A 78-year-old man running for re-election for the president, for the highest office in the land, to be the leader of the free world, said something that childish and that insecure. Do you realize how weak and fragile your ego has to be that you would worry that the woman running against you was prettier than you, and you would think that's why people are voting? You think that's why we're voting against you, Donnie, is because Kamala Harris is a beautiful woman? And yes, she is a beautiful woman, but do you think that that's why we're voting against you? No, we're voting against you because of all the carnage you've unleashed on this country. We're voting against you because we saw you during your first term. We already voted you out once. Then we saw you sick your followers on the Capitol to try to overturn an election that we voted against you in. And we have saw you continue to set and push this rhetoric. We saw you say that you want to terminate the Constitution and be a dictator on day one. Kamala is a beautiful woman, and Doug's lucky to have her, but that's not why we're voting against you. And the fact that that's where your little mind goes is truly embarrassing. And it's even more embarrassing that you're obsessing over her laugh too. But he really is. Take a look.
People say, be nice. Have you heard her laugh? That is the laugh of a crazy person. That is the laugh of a crazy. It's the laugh of a lunatic. Have you heard it? You know, they prohibited her. They prohibited her for laughing. I've been waiting for her to laugh because as soon as she laughs, the election's over.
Imagine being so fragile and weak that a laugh got under your skin. Imagine that someone's laugh could get to you, that you would be that weak-minded. It truly is sad that he's even in the game at this point, and it's truly sad that people are standing there, cheering him on, laughing about it, thinking it's funny, and they'll go home and they'll make memes that talks about her laugh, and they'll all talk about her laugh like, ooh, oh man, have you heard her laugh? Yeah, we've heard her laugh, and when I hear Kamala Harris laugh, I hear a beautiful woman confidently laughing at the absurdity around her. And I'm glad that she laughs. I'm glad that she can still find humor in all of this because it's hard to these days. And the fact that she can laugh and Donald Trump can't kind of tells you everything about where they're at as people. And if Trump's followers are laughing, they're laughing at the absurd stuff Trump says, or they're laughing down at people. They're laughing down at people over the color of their skin. They're laughing down at people over their nationality or their creed. They're laughing down at people over who they love. They're laughing down at women. They're laughing down at how people identify or what pronouns they use. They're laughing out of cruelty. They're laughing out of cruelty. And they're laughing at Trump's cruelty. So if you want to compare laughs, I'll take Kamala Harris's laugh all day, laughing at the absurdity around her versus them laughing at all the cruelty that they unleash on this world. But guess what? The cult, buddy, when they hear him come up with these talking points, they know it's time to get on them. So here's Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend. He's talking all about Kamala's looks and her makeup. And yeah, it's just so ridiculous.
During the early days running with Joe Biden, she had a very watered down look to her. She wore a lot of neutral colors, a lot of grays, a lot of blacks, very few bright colored suits. And I'd even go as far as makeup. She didn't have a lot of makeup on and almost no jewelry at all. No rings, no necklaces, nothing. And I think that was on point. And that was at the time when kind of this whole gender bender type of campaign was going on, where they didn't really want to celebrate, I think, a female. Now, if you look at her now and look at her campaign speeches and some of the pictures that's pushed out on social media and the ones that they do to press conferences, it's a very different looking Kamala Harris. She very much embraces being a female, and I think that's trying to speak to suburban women who might have been turned off on President Trump for whatever reason.
You know, at this point in the game, all I can say to Marge's boyfriend and to Marge and to Trump and to all the people who are sitting there cheering him on and laughing at him saying all these things, obsessing over her looks, obsessing over her laugh and her makeup and the way she dresses, you guys just keep talking. Just keep talking as loud as you want to. And I tell you what, I've heard some people say, man, don't give them a platform. Don't give them a place to speak. No, just everybody just hold up the mic and let them talk. Because the more they talk, the more they expose who they really are. And for those of us who actually care about this country and care about where we're headed and care about democracy and care about fixing our problems, the reasonable people, we're going to go vote. And to the people who have been sitting back on the fence trying to figure it out, they're going to look over and they're going to see a beautiful woman with a great laugh over here with ideas and solutions as to how to keep moving this country forward. And they're going to see a grown man so fragile and weak that the only thing he can come up with to talk about his opponent is her looks and her laugh. So yeah, MAGA, just keep talking. It's working so great for you, by the way.